Hey everybody, it's McDoodle again. So today I kind of wanted to make a video about the new player experience. And starting off in Project Gorgon can really be a daunting experience for sure. Um, I kind of want to discuss some ways that you can kind of manage that better, and and overall just kind of have a better time. So what I want to get into today basically is just a few points. Maybe some achieving some skills, um, learning things about the world a little bit. The second thing I want to touch on is the interconnectivity of skills. So a lot of skills in this game, they interconnect. So my point being is, with different skills, you're probably going to want to pair that with some other skills. And my best advice I could possibly give to a new player would probably be, stick with about 2 to 5 trade skills, and stick with about 2 combat skills in the beginning until you kind of get your bearings on the game. Um, so basically, what I want to touch on a little bit. So I'll give you an example. So cooking, for example, is a very important skill in this game. Um, Cooking ties into gourmand, and what gourmand is your ability to consume and digest certain foods, right? The art of appreciating what you eat. So the higher your gourmand is, the better the foods you can eat, the longer they last. So why that's important is if you want to get into combat, you're gonna need good food, and because it boosts your HP, your power, your restoration in combat, out of combat. So it's extremely important. So I haven't really done cooking all that much. I prefer to buy it. I prefer to do combat and get money from that method of farming mobs for recipes or whatever it may be. Um, and I usually buy my food, and you can do that too. But just for educational purposes, I'm going to touch on cooking and gourmand and also gardening. Gardening is an incredibly important skill, not just for fishing, or not just for cooking, but also for growing things like cotton, right? So cotton ties into tailoring, a few other skills. So basically, you're gonna want to get a few different recipes, right? So you don't just start out with being able to make food. You're gonna need to trade the shopkeeper. In the higher level you get with him, you're gonna be able to unlock different types of food. And another skill that actually ties in with this, and I neglected to mention, is fishing. So there's a lot of different things that tie into skills, right? And it's not just cooking. This goes with things like augmentation of your gear. If with augmentation you have transmutation, and what transmutation is it's breaking down gear for stuff like phlogiston, um, and you can use this stuff to transmute and augment your gear, right? Um, so all these different things are interconnected, and so you're gonna want to get recipes, obviously, and a lot of these recipes will include things like potatoes, salt, bottles of water. All this can be salt, bottles of water, and flour can be purchased from the shopkeeper or the gardening trainer with bottles of water. And see, a lot of these skills they tie into gardening. And the point I'm trying to make is you're gonna want to focus on cooking definitely at the start, and that's a mistake I made. This is something that's definitely going to make your time easier in combat if you're finding that you're like, oh crap, like these monsters are really strong, my food's not good enough, and oftentimes you won't even realize it, and then when you get good food, you'll be like, hey, holy crap, like this is really making a difference. So cooking is definitely one of those things you're gonna wanna achieve when you first start. And on top of that, it's a good mindset to have that hey, like other skills are kind of like this. Like if I want to pick up, crafting, certain things like blacksmithing or whatever, mining ties into that, or tailoring, skinning ties into that. So you're gonna want to pick up multiple skills, and what I mean by that, don't get yourself overwhelmed or anything, but just understand that a lot of the things you're gonna do in this game, you're also gonna have subsidiaries of of skills. So Another thing I want to talk about is kind of some things that'll make your life easier in this game. So I wanted to touch on going back to the favor system with NPCs and stuff. So when you have items, and this is something I didn't know for the longest time when I played this game, because a lot of this stuff isn't told to you. You have to figure it out yourself. Going back to that point. So click more info on item, right? Click it, click more info. So you have a few tabs here, right? So a lot of the stuff, if you have some recipes involving the items, it'll show here. But gifting is an incredibly important feature. And what this allows you to do is, with people you've met, you can see what items you can give to them for favor. And as you can see, it says plus 4 people you haven't met. So the people you haven't met, you obviously don't know what they want, so you won't be able to give them anything. But for the people you have, this is a very important feature because before you're selling stuff, always look at this. And the higher the value of the item, the more favor you're going to get from the specific person. So just make sure you're managing what you're kind of giving away. And moving on, I want to talk about player vendors. So if you come to this side of Serval, you'll notice there's a big block on the map, and this is where all the shops are. And this can be an incredibly useful feature. Some of these items, people will they're kind of cutthroat about it, right? Some people kind of rule the market here. Uh, Not that they own all the supplies, but what they'll do is they'll buy out other people's supplies, and they'll sell it for higher rates or whatever. So you want to really look around all the different shops for items. And so what you're going to do first of all is, if you need a specific item, you can't find it. Um, you're going to want to go to the shop tracking golem, right? These little purple dudes, they walk around all around here. They're not always in the A area. They're sometimes in the B, sometimes in the C. So you're going to want to talk to them, search an item, right? Say I want say I want an amethyst, right? This is a useful gem for teleporting. There's a bunch of different shops that have them. So F17, D6, A11, C24. So we'll focus on A11 and C24 right now. But normally I would check them all, but for the sake of time, I'll just do this. So let me see your wares. So as you can see, he's a gem trader, probably does a lot of surveying for gems. Um, and we're gonna look for amethyst. All right, this guy sells it for 500 each. That's a little expensive, but he has a good spot. So some people are gonna be lazy and they're gonna buy from him. So now we're gonna head over to C24. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. Got a lot of stuff open. So now let's see this guy. So that's 375. So just by doing a little looking around, I found something for 125 coins cheaper, right? And that's big. That's big, especially if you're buying like 10 of them, right? So the items you need in this game can often be found through player vendors or even in shops. So I'll go ahead and show you that next. Okay, so I'm over here back by Serval Square. I'm gonna head into an NPC shop, right? This is Marna. She buys most things for full price, and she buys pretty much everything, right? Not everything, but most things. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my illusion because that's something a spider gets. So she won't actually talk to me because I'm in animal form, right? She's like, "Ah, a beast," and that's a drawback of being an animal. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna oops, doing the wrong thing right now. I'm gonna go ahead and use my illusion real quick. So I'll pop into a human form. I'm gonna talk to her. So look, I can go to the buy used tab. And this is also a very useful feature if you're looking for specific items or you want to snag some items that may be useful to players, right? You say you want to be a vendor and someone's unknowingly sells something that could be priced a lot higher than its actual value because it's rare or it's in demand or whatever it may be. So look, you can go through here and there's a lot of different things that players have sold to her that you can buy back. And this is incredibly important if you're farming specific items that you want to train, or this goes for every shop, most shops that you can do this at. So that's another very useful feature that you should be aware of when you start this game. So what we learned today is that many different skills intertwine with each other, right? We You saw me in my illusion form. But we learned that many different skills intertwine with each other. And, I just gave you a few examples about cooking and gardening and fishing and stuff like that. Um, but that's the general gist of things, right? A lot of different things just intertwine with each other. That's not just skills, but that's pretty much with everything in this game. So always keep an eye out for stuff like that. And we also learned that favor is incredibly important. Oftentimes, like I said, you're going to try to sell things, and you need to understand that you can get a better value from them from that NPC if you give them stuff for their favor, or they get more shop money for their favor if you raise their favor. It just helps you in the long run, and you'll really pat yourself on the back later on down the line. And lastly, we got gain knowledge about different ways to obtain different items, right? So, you may need items, and there's many ways to obtain items other than killing things or collecting the mats yourself. Sometimes it's more beneficial to buy them from a player. Your time could be spent elsewhere making more money, or maybe that item is across the world and you're too lazy to get it, or maybe it's in too high of a level of a zone and the monsters are too strong and you're too scared, not scared, but you're too weak to go there. Um, so basically, in conclusion, there's many different ways to approach this game as a new player, and I really hope I was somehow informative in that aspect. So thank you, and this is McDoodle signing off.